Hello, hello. Once again, we are playing Werewolf the Forsaken. Um, Sorry guys, I would have made this video sooner, but I have just been busy. But let's get right into it. So when we last where we left off, my tongue tied right now. We left off, and the pack had gotten into their old truck belonging to Father Thomas, and they're basically going down a narrow dirt road, um, and they are going towards. Just trying to catch up. I already did this whole session, but I'm recapping with you guys. So the pack is driving towards, I believe, the Sleeping Locust. Yes, okay. So if you don't remember, um, in the last video, I talked a little bit about the locust. We're not talking about like an insect. And again, I still haven't made a video that goes over everything in Werewolf the Forsaken in depth. So stay tuned for one of those videos in the future. But hopefully I can kind of like give you kind of like an idea of what's going on. And you've probably seen one of these things, a locust, if you ever played. There's a werewolf. I think it was Werewolf the Apocalypse game that came out not too long ago. You could play it on PC. I can't remember off the top of my head what it was called, but it had really good graphics. It's probably made in the late 2000s, and it's a little bit different from the role playing game, but um, there are certain things that help you understand this world by playing that game. So a locust um, is like I would basically consider it like an energy fountain type of thing. Um, and spirits and werewolves appreciate having a locust on their territory because it kind of like regenerates them in certain situations. They can like pull mana, or like they can replenish some of their magic power from these things, and they can also cross into the spirit world very easily when they have one of these things available. So again, let's get right into it. So the sleeping locust. Nearly 40 minutes later, the pack arrives. The locust sits within a neglected grove of mesquite trees. Long ago it was stronger. Now it slumbers, weak, dormant, but still connected to the shadow. Victor immediately notices something strange. The night is too quiet. Not silent, just empty. Normally, a locust attracts spirits, even a weak one, especially uh, an old locust like this one. There should be minor spirits, curious spirits, territorial spirits, something. Instead, nothing. Um, so I have to mention something. Uh, when I was playing this session, I screwed up something kind of big, okay? And anybody that's a veteran of this game is going to immediately probably catch this. So obviously, when the pack was in their truck and they arrived at this location, nobody nobody could see spirits, right? So that's a little mistake on my part. We're going to keep going. We're going to just pretend that um we're going to just go with it, okay guys? I'm sorry. Going forward, though, the way that I try to run this game is by the books. I actually have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19. I have over 19. I'm not counting all of them. I have over 19 Werewolf the Forsaken books. I'm pretty sure all of these are Werewolf the Forsaken books. I might be adding a few Vampire or World of Darkness books because I'm not like pulling them out of the case that I have them all in. But I'm crazy when it comes to the rules. I love to play by the rules, guys. Okay, I don't like broken stuff. I'm not trying to break the game ever. Whenever I play with people, I can't stand that kind of stuff. But I do aim to please. In one of my past sessions a long time ago, I did let characters do all sorts of crazy stuff in the world that I created for them. But looking back now, I have to admit I didn't really enjoy it that much as a dungeon master because I just felt like they destroyed the world I created for them. Anyways, so the pack arrives, and obviously they shouldn't be able to see spirits because they haven't used any gifts and they're not in the spirit world. But we made a mistake, so moving on. Where is everybody? No one answers because everyone is wondering the same thing. As the pack approaches the center of the grove, Victor feels the hairs on his arms stand up. Something is here. Not the thing from the canals, something else. Watching. Okay, now I did roll at this point. We did an investigation roll, and we got 4 successes. Strong success. So, Victor. So the others stop near the center of the grove. Victor doesn't because something is wrong. Very wrong. The sensation hits him almost immediately. Not because he's smarter, not because he's more experienced, because he's an Ithir. The shadow is his territory. Victor kneels. Victor kneels beside the locust. Closes his eyes, listens, feels, and subtly the answer becomes clear. The locust isn't empty. The spirits aren't gone. They're hiding. A lot of spirits. Dozens. The realization comes with a second insight. They're not hiding from your pack. They're hiding from something else, something nearby. Victor opens his eyes. The grove feels crowded now, not physically, spiritually. Tiny presences, watching, holding their breath, trying not to be noticed. So basically, now we know the local spirit. So we have a clue. The local spirits are actively concealing themselves. This is coordinated behavior. Something has frightened the entire local spirit ecosystem. Then Victor notices something even stranger. The locust itself is asleep, but not naturally. Something has been feeding on it. Not enough to destroy it, not enough to corrupt it, just enough to weaken it repeatedly, carefully. So we have another clue. Something's been draining essence from this sleeping locust. And then Victor sees it. One of the hiding spirits. For only a second, a tiny spirit shaped like a dragonfly made of irrigation water. It peeks from behind an old mesquite tree. Now, once again, guys, I'm 100% aware of the fact that they're not in the spirit. This was a mistake on my part. And like I said, going forward, this would never happen again. It bothers me, trust me, because I am all about the rules in this game. Okay, anyways, we continue. The moment it notices Victor looking at it, it freezes, terrified. Then it tries to flee. And here we go. We're going to roll some dice. Victor is the only one who sees it before it disappears. If Victor wants to stop it and communicate with it, we're going to roll dexterity athletics. So that'll be 7 dice, and we got 1 success. A success is enough, barely. So the dragonfly spirit bolts. One moment it's peeking around the mesquite tree, the next it's streaking away in a blur of water and reflected moonlight. Victor reacts instantly. Wait! He lunges through the brush. Branches scrape his arms. He's in human form, by the way. The spirit darts between roots and dead grass. For a second, Victor thinks he's lost it. Then he cuts it off, not physically, spiritually, positioning himself between the dragonfly and the deeper shadow paths leading away from the locust. So yeah, see, ugh, I hate it because I can see how this is all screwed up right here, but oh well. The spirit, so just again, what should have happened, guys, was all of the pack should have been in the spirit realm. What should have happened was when they got to the locust, they should have went into the spirit, and there's a dice roll for that. It's called crossing the gauntlet, and because they're at a locust, it's like easier. And so that's what should have happened, and then all of this scene would have made perfect sense. Anyways, back to the story. Behind Victor, the rest of the pack starts moving towards him. The dragonfly spirit immediately panics. Its wings buzz frantically. It looks ready to flee again or collapse. Victor immediately notices something. This isn't a powerful spirit, not even close. It's a minor spirit, like She Who Stays. One that should be concerned with water flow, irrigation, canals, and agriculture. Instead, it looks like prey that has been hunted for weeks. Oh, guys, here, forgot. I can show you pictures. I'm sorry. So, let's see. What do we got? Yeah, we'll put it right over here. Ignore the text, guys. Just trying to give you an idea of like what the pack sees. So the pack would see something like this. Ignore the stuff in the background. That's for later. But they would be seeing like something like this, like an irrigation ditch, guys. If you're, something that looks like this, usually around farmland, okay, where farmers can pull water up. Of course, they would be in the spirit, so it would look a little bit weirder. It would look warped. And in a minute, I'm going to show you some other pictures that you'll appreciate. All right, so back to the story. The dragonfly looks like prey that has been hunted for weeks. Maria whispers behind, "Easy." Even she can see how frightened it is. The dragonfly spirit finally speaks. Its voice sounds like water dripping into a canal. "Don't let it know." Silence. Hector frowns. "Let what know?" The spirit's eyes widen. Immediately, too quickly, like it made a mistake. "I already said too much." Then it looks directly at Victor. Not Hector, not the Alpha, Victor, the Ithier. "You talk to the lonely one." It's referring to She Who Stays. "If it notices her," the spirit shudders, "it will eat her name." The entire grove goes silent. Even Hector doesn't interrupt. Victor has just gained another clue. And that clue is whatever is operating near the canals may be capable of consuming names. Among spirits, names are incredibly important. Sometimes a spirit's entire identity is wrapped up in its name. Losing a name can be catastrophic. The other clue that Victor has gained is the dragonfly spirit knows more than it wants to reveal. It is terrified of being overheard, which suggests it believes the entity can somehow learn information indirectly, whatever this entity is. So we're not rolling at this point. And actually, it was at this point, because I'm looking back at my notes, it was at this point in my game where I got so upset because I was like, wait a second, the whole pack is not in the Hizzle right now. And the Hizzle, or the shadow. So spirits reside in the shadow or the Hizzle. Shadow I'm sorry, Hizzle is another name for Shadow Realm. Okay. So at this point, I believe I corrected my game somehow. And I did roll. Okay. So here we go. I rolled at this point. So this is going to get a little bit confusing, guys. If you're following the story along on YouTube, I'm sorry. This is going to be a tiny bit confusing, but this is basically what happened. So I realized I had screwed up some of the rules. And in order to correct the rules, I had Victor roll. So we had him roll to cross into the Shadow Realm. Okay. So let me just. So we rolled. We rolled Resolve and Composure. And again, guys, in the comments, if you are a veteran Werewolf the Forsaken player, or maybe you're not a veteran, but you're just better at the game than me, let me know what I'm doing wrong, okay? And I will correct it. And I do have books though, so I'm not gonna just take your word for it. I'm gonna compare your comment to the actual books that I have, but I will respond to your comment. And if you're watching this video in the future and my channel actually blew up, which I doubt that'll happen, but if it did and you left comments and I didn't respond, I'm sorry, because I'm only human. I can only respond to so many, right? But until that happens, I will happily respond to anybody that helps me improve my gameplay. So anyways, we rolled Resolve and Composure, six dice total, and we got 3 successes. So here's what happened. Victor closes his eyes. The sleeping locust is weak, wounded, hungry, but it is still a locust. Still a place where the worlds touch. The physical world begins to blur. The sounds of insects become distant. Colors become sharper. Shadows deepen. The familiar pressure of the Hizzle, the Shadow Realm, presses against Victor's senses. For a moment, he feels resistance. Then the barrier parts. Victor steps through. The first thing Victor notices is the smell. Water, fear, and something else. Something missing. The grove exists here too, but not as it does in the physical world. The mesquite trees that were in the physical world tower overhead like ancient giants here in the spirit world. Their roots snake through the shadow like veins. The sleeping locust glows faintly at the grove's center, a pale green light, weak, flickering, as though recovering from illness. Then Victor notices the spirits, dozens of them, exactly as he suspected. Water spirits, dust spirits, wind spirits, small animal spirits, agriculture spirits. They are everywhere, hiding behind roots, inside shadows, under stones, and every single one of them is staring at him. Not because he's a werewolf, not because he's Bone Shadow, not because he's Ithier, because he just arrived. And arrivals are dangerous right now. One tiny spirit finally speaks, a dragonfly made of flowing irrigation water. The same presence Victor sensed earlier. Okay, guys, so this is going to get a little bit confusing, but so what happened was we fixed the game, and this is what should have happened from the very get-go. So you know how we started the session with everybody arriving in the truck? Pretend that didn't happen. And this is actually how we fixed it. Okay, so he crossed in the gauntlet, and instead of having to chase that dragonfly, that didn't happen. He actually sees this tiny little dragonfly, and it's, for some reason, it trusts him. And so here, yeah, let's continue. The same a dragonfly made of flowing irrigation water, the same presence Victor sensed earlier. Its voice sounds like water trickling through a cracked canal. Another one! Several nearby spirits recoil. Another? Victor says. Not a werewolf. Not uh, an Uratha. Another. The dragonfly spirit studies Victor, then asks, Did it send you too? The question immediately causes panic among the other spirits. Some flee deeper into the shadow. Others press themselves against roots and stones, trying not to be seen. Victor realizes something important. The spirits are not merely afraid, they are expecting something, someone, and they think Victor might be connected to it. We're not rolling yet, guys. So Victor slowly raises both hands, not in surrender, in reassurance, the same way one might approach a frightened animal or a frightened spirit. Here, let me throw Victor up here on the screen real quick so you guys can remember what he looks like. The same way one might approach a frightened animal or a frightened spirit. No, Victor says. Or he probably would have been like, no, because he's trying to like reassure them. The word echoes softly through the hizzle. Victor takes another step forward, careful, measured. I'm investigating too. The dragonfly spirit stares. Its wings buzz nervously. Victor continues. I'm not here. I'm not here for you. I'm trying to find out what happened. Or what's happening. The spirit doesn't answer immediately. Instead, it studies him closely. Victor suddenly realizes what the spirit is doing. It isn't deciding whether to trust him. It's deciding whether it remembers him. The dragonfly spirit tilts its head. Bone shadow? A pause. Crescent moon? Another pause. Victor? The spirit visibly relaxes. Not much, just enough. Victor immediately understands the significance. The spirit remembered his name. That shouldn't feel important, yet somehow it does. Several nearby spirits begin peeking out from hiding. Okay, guys, so let me just backtrack real quick. In case you're wondering how the spirit would know Victor, okay, there's a couple reasons why some of these, and keep in mind, these are the common spirits, guys. These are the low-ranking common spirits, okay? These are your peasants. The reason they would know Victor is, who is Victor friends with? Another common low-ranking spirit that goes by the name of, and I'll put her on the screen, She Who Stays. So I know she looks powerful, but she's not. She's a rank 1 spirit. She's a rank 1 abandonment spirit, okay? So the reason that they would possibly know Victor is because She Who Stays probably has educated some of these spirits in the spirit realm. She's probably conversed with them and explained and talked to them about Victor. And not only that, the pack has been in the area for a couple days before this game session took place. Maybe a few weeks, okay? So they would have had some time to get to know the pack before the pack became aware of the crazy stuff that's going on in their brand new territory. Okay, so the spirit visibly relaxes. Not much, just enough. Victor immediately understands the significance. The spirit remembered his name. That shouldn't feel important, yet somehow it does. Several nearby spirits begin peeking out from hiding, watching, listening. The dragonfly spirit drifts closer. still afraid, still ready to flee, but willing to talk. It isn't supposed to know. It isn't supposed to know names. Victor notices several spirits recoil at those words. At first, it forgot places, then paths, then memories. The dragonfly spirit's voice becomes quieter. Then names. The sleeping locust pulses weakly behind Victor like a fading heartbeat. So Victor has discovered another clue. Something is consuming concepts in stages. It seems to be first. First it's messing with places. So spirits are forgetting places, then they're forgetting paths, then they're losing their memories, and then they're losing their names. So I don't know if you remember in the first video I made, She Who Stays, she had a situation where she was like gone for like 3 days, and she was explaining this to Victor, and Victor's like, what the heck? The spirit continues. When a spirit loses its name, it struggles to explain, as though the idea itself is difficult. It becomes less. Victor knows enough spirit lore to understand a spirit's name is not just an identifier, it's part of what the spirit is. Then the dragonfly spirit says something that immediately changes the entire investigation. It came from the river. Silence. Not the canal, not the locust, not the grove, the river. Immediately, one of the other hiding spirits blurts out, "No!" The spirit looks terrified that it spoke. No! It came from below the river! Every spirit in the area freezes. The dragonfly spirit slowly turns toward the second spirit. Neither of them looks confident, which means they may both be partially right. Okay, so at this point, remember guys, I'm doing solo play, so I've created a system so that not even I know exactly what's going to happen. Okay, I have a system involving several clocks, like they look like actual clocks. Okay, and they do count down to certain events. Okay, if you're more interested in how I'm doing this, I'll have to make another video at some point. I probably won't do it right away though, because it's a unique thing that I don't think many people know how to. Well, if enough people want me to make a video on it, I'll do it. But I want to kind of get the sessions out of the way first. Anyways, so Victor now has several options after he just uncovered this major lead in the investigation. So Victor So the young bone shadow turns away from the frightened spirits and approaches the locust. In the shadow, in the hizzle, it resembles a massive knot of roots surrounding a glowing green heart. At least it used to. Now that glow is weak, uneven, like a lantern running out of oil. As Victor approaches, he notices something strange. The damage isn't random. That realization comes almost immediately. The locust isn't injured. It has been harvested. Something has been taking essence from it carefully, repeatedly, methodically. Victor kneels beside the locust. His hand hovers over the green glow. The damaged sections form a pattern. Not claw marks, not corruption, not feeding scars from a normal spirit. A pattern. Okay, so at this point, I did roll to see if Victor was going to figure out what happened to the locust. So we rolled 7 dice, intelligence plus occult. Um, and oh, okay. So at this point, we were unsuccessful. We had no success. What a letdown, right? Okay. Victor places his hand near the fading heart of the locust. He attempts to trace the spiritual wounds, to identify the feeding pattern, to understand what drained it. Nothing. Not because the clues aren't there, because his thoughts keep slipping. Victor studies a section of damaged essence flow. For a moment, he thinks he's found the answer. Then he forgets what he was looking at. Not completely, just enough. His attention shifts, then returns, then shifts again. Victor immediately realizes something terrifying. The contamination isn't just on the stone, it's here too. The closer he examines the damage, the harder it becomes to focus on it, almost as though something doesn't want to be understood. So we have another clue. The phenomenon appears to interfere with investigation itself. Studying it creates confusion and distraction. Back to the story. Then something happens. Something none of the spirits expected. The locust flickers once, twice, then suddenly flares brighter. Not stronger, brighter, like a dying light bulb. Every spirit in the grove immediately panics. Several flee. Others throw themselves behind trees. One begins crying, and Victor hears it. Not a voice, not exactly. A thought, a memory, a question. For a single instant, it appears in his mind. Who are you? The sensation vanishes immediately, gone like it never happened. The locust dims again. Silence. The dragonfly spirit is trembling. It asked. Victor notices something important. The spirit didn't ask what asked. It already knows or think it. It already knows or thinks it does. So we didn't roll. I know that would have been a good spot to roll. Victor looks around one last time. The frightened spirits, the weakened locusts, the uneasy feeling that something is wrong beneath the region. All of it remains, but so does a more immediate fact. His pack is on the other side of the gauntlet. So, guys, real quick, in Werewolf the Forsaken, at least the way that I play, you don't want to leave your buddies behind. That's all I'm going to say. In Werewolf the Forsaken, if you're in a werewolf pack, you stay with the pack. If you don't stay with the pack, it can get pretty scary. That's all I'm going to say. Luckily, though, Victor's pack is just right on the other side of the gauntlet. So his pack is on the other side of the gauntlet. Victor withdraws from the locust and prepares to cross back through the gauntlet. Because he's crossing at the same weakened locust he entered through and nothing is actively preventing the crossing, we're not going to roll. The shadow realm peels away. Colors dull. The pressure of essence fades. The physical world returns. Victor opens his eyes. The grove is dark. The grove. The grove is dark, humid, quiet. The pack is exactly where he left them. Hector is the first to speak. Remember, guys, Hector's the alpha of this pack. Well, Maria steps forward. She's been watching Victor carefully. Unlike Hector, she understands how dangerous the shadow can be. What did you find? Victor now has the opportunity to report. So, Victor basically reports everything that he knows. He tells the pack that the locust appears weakened, the local spirits are hiding, they're frightened, something's been draining essence from the pack's, because this is technically this is the pack's locust. He explains the phenomenon, the forgetfulness that appears connected to the river. He explains that some spirits believe something came from below the river. He tells his pack that the spirits are afraid of being noticed, and any type of investigation seems to create confusion or mental interference. And he reminds the pack, because I don't remember if he told them in the first video, she who stays, his spirit friend, believes whatever this thing is, it noticed her. At the end of Victor's report, Hector folds his arms. Let me put a picture up of the whole pack again. There's Hector right there on the far left. Okay. At the end of Victor's report, Hector folds his arms. The Alpha thinks for a long moment, then says, Then we stop guessing." He points toward the darkness, toward the canal system. "We go look." Father Tomas immediately disagrees. "We have almost no information." Maria Ramia responds, "The spirits are terrified." Elena shouts out, or she doesn't shout out, she says, so Maria says, "The spirits are terrified," and Elena's like, "Which means they're still alive." The debate begins, and for the first time tonight, the pack must decide, what are they going to do? The decision belongs to the pack, but Victor's opinion will carry significant weight because he is currently the only one who's actually spoken with the spirits. So, at this point, we did my little system thing, and this is what happened. Victor doesn't hesitate. The locusts gave them answers, but not enough. The spirits are frightened, the river is involved, and every clue ultimately points back to one place, the canal. Victor looks at Hector. "We go." The Alpha nods immediately. No debate, no hesitation. Father Tomas sighs, not because he disagrees, because he knows the decision is made. Maria checks her gear. Elena quietly scans the tree line. Within minutes, Los Lobos is moving together. The trip takes approximately 20 minutes. Now, this is another thing, guys. If you're playing a game, and I'm sorry to break the story again, to rip you out of the zone if you're in the zone. Hopefully I'm making this entertaining. But I have to mention this because I remember when I first started playing Werewolf the Forsaken tabletop, this drove me insane, and I know it drove my players insane. I had no idea when I first started playing this game. I had no idea how the hell to determine traveling in this game. I became one of the most annoying dungeon masters out there because I had no idea how to figure out how traveling worked in this game. And it wasn't until later that I discovered that traveling in this game, there's a way to do it while still following the rules, and then there's a way to make it into a massive disaster. I'm not going to get into the whole thing right here because I don't even like explaining it. But if you're running these games and traveling is like a big thing to you, eventually I'll make a video on travel and how it works. But don't like make traveling like a big thing. If your character's chasing somebody or something like that, I believe in one of the books it breaks it down how to do that. But like if your pack is doing something like what my pack is doing right now, don't make it into something insane with ridiculous amounts of dice and trying to figure out, well, how can the pack get, how many yards can the pack get, cuz I was literally that idiot. Okay? I'll never forget. I had like 5 other players and they're like, "Are you serious?" And I was like, "Yeah, we're going to bust out the math and we're going to figure out how far the pack can get." And yeah, it was terrible. It was a terrible idea, but it was a learning experience. And anyways, we figured it out eventually. So, back to the story. The trip takes approximately 20 minutes. The road deteriorates quickly. Pavement becomes gravel, gravel becomes dirt, dirt becomes little more than tire tracks. The broken canal lies well outside the populated portions of San Cedro. Old farmland surrounds it. Much of the property has been abandoned. The irrigation system hasn't been properly maintained in years. As the pack approaches, Victor immediately notices something. The temperature is dropping. Not dramatically, just enough to feel wrong. Maria notices it too. You feel that? Everyone does, even Hector. The air becomes still. No insects, no frogs, no birds, no wind, just silence. The pack reaches the canal and stops because the reports were true. The water is moving uphill. Not quickly, not violently, but undeniably. Victor watches muddy canal water flow against gravity, slowly climbing a concrete incline it should not be able to climb. Nobody speaks for several seconds. Finally, Elena whispers, "That's impossible." Father Tomas responds quietly, "No." He looks at Victor, then at the canal. "It's supernatural." And then Victor notices something else, something nobody else has spotted yet. Along the canal bank, about 30 yards away, half hidden among reeds, a figure, standing perfectly still, human sized, motionless, watching the canal, too far away to identify clearly. So here we go. We're going to roll dice. Victor is rolling wits and investigation, 7 dice. And I guess I did not record the outcome, but I know it was successful. Okay. Victor narrows his eyes. The figure stands motionless near the canal bank. Too motionless. At first, Victor thinks it might be a person. Then he notices something wrong. The figure has not shifted its weight, has not adjusted its stance, has not reacted to the pack's arrival. Nothing. Victor studies it more carefully. The moonlight catches part of its face, and Victor's stomach immediately tightens. It isn't watching the canal, it's watching its reflection in the water. The figure stands at the edge of the canal, staring into the water flowing uphill. Not moving, not blinking, just watching. Okay, so I found my dice outcome, guys. I'm sorry. Damn it, Dungeon Master, you keep breaking the story. Okay, so you keep going in and out of the story. So I had 2 successes. So Victor notices something else. The reflection is wrong. The person-shaped figure is standing on the bank, but the reflection in the water appears slightly delayed. Not much, a fraction of a second, almost impossible to notice, but Victor notices it. The reflection turns its head a moment after the figure does. The reflection blinks a moment after the figure blinks. It's subtle, disturbingly subtle. Victor is now confident of 3 things. There's definitely a human-sized figure near the canal. The figure appears unaware of the pack. Something is wrong with its reflection. So, remember, I have a system, guys, for how we progress through the game as a solo player, and I used the system now, and here is the results. Give me 1 second. Okay, so Victor is going to roll to turn into the Urshel form. And this is going to be a common thing with Victor, okay, with my character. Victor, his favorite form is the wolf that's the size of a horse, okay? He loves the Urshel form. So Victor rolls and he's successful. He turns into the Urshel form. And then he's going to immediately roll again to try to catch the scent of the figure. So we're going to roll wits plus survival. Urshel form grants enhanced senses, and the scent is exactly what Victor is built for. And he gets 1 success. Okay, so here's the results of that success. Victor learns something useful, but not everything. Victor lowers his head and draws a long breath through his nose. Immediately, something feels wrong. The figure smells human, but only partly. Victor smells river water, wet stone, mud, and something else. Absence. The figure lacks sense Victor expects from a living person. No sweat, no body odor, no recent food, no fear, no excitement, no adrenaline, nothing. Not because the figure is clean, because the scents simply aren't there, like they were washed away. Victor is confident of one thing: this is not a normal human, not a spirit either. At least, not in the way spirits usually smell. The scent reminds Victor of something caught between worlds, neither flesh nor shadow. As Victor studies it, the figure finally moves. The man slowly turns away from the canal. For the first time, Victor sees his face and recognizes him. The problem is Victor knows with absolute certainty that this man is dead. Not famous, not someone from history, someone Victor personally remembers seeing dead years ago, before his first change, before he became Uratha. Okay. Victor's ears flatten. Oh, here, guys, I'm sorry. Here, let me show you what's going on. Let me show you a picture of what we're looking at here. Boom. So that's Victor. Giant wolf. Isn't that beautiful? Oh man, I love the me personally, this is my favorite werewolf form. It's literally a giant wolf, guys. And in this game, I'll try not to spoil it, but in this game, there's an even bigger werewolf form. And I'm not talking about Garu. I'm talking about an even stronger form, even bigger. Okay, anyways. Victor Victor's ears flatten, his hackles rise instinctively, not because of a supernatural power, not because of Luna, not because of a gift, because he recognizes the face. The face in the river, I mean, in the canal looks ridiculous. I know. I'm sorry, guys. It does look ridiculous. It's smiling. That smile is just evil. Um, because he recognizes the face. The man standing beside the canal is one of the people who abandoned him, one of the family members who left him for dead. For a moment, Victor is 17 again. Cold, hungry, alone. The face is older now. The years have changed it, but not enough. Victor knows exactly who he's looking at. The problem is that cannot be him. Victor knows this because he remembers the funeral. He remembers the obituary. He remembers hearing that the man had died years ago, before Victor's first change. And yet, the man is standing here at the broken canal, watching the water flow uphill. The figure slowly turns its head toward Victor. Its eyes settle on him. No recognition, no surprise, no emotion. Then it speaks. Do I know you? The voice is flat, empty. Hector immediately notices Victor's reaction. Victor! The alpha's voice is low, concerned. Maria also notices. One second, guys. Victor obviously cannot explain himself because he's in the wolf form. But the pack knows him. His pack mates have become very good at reading his body language, especially when one of them is in a wolf form. Victor freezes, his ears flatten, his tail stiffens, a low growl escapes his throat. Not aggressive, disturbed. Maria notices first. Something's wrong. Hector nods. Yeah. The alpha has no idea what Victor is thinking, but he can clearly tell. Victor recognizes something. Victor's alarmed. Victor's not reacting to a random stranger. Meanwhile, the figure continues staring at Victor, then says, Do I know you? The question sounds sincere, not manipulative, not threatening. Then the man asks, Should I know you? Victor notices something important. The man doesn't seem afraid of a giant Urshel at all. Now that is unusual. Most humans would be terrified. Even many supernatural beings would be terrified. The man appears more confused than frightened. So at this point, guys, we did roll again. And basically the roll was to give this thing another smell. So we rolled wits and survival. And while we were rolling, my character Victor was circling the man. And so here's the results. Okay. Victor starts circling clockwise around the man, testing him, watching him, trying to provoke some reaction, any reaction. The figure follows Victor with his eyes. How creepy is that, right? Only his eyes. Nothing else moves. Victor completes half a circle. Victor roughly completes half a circle. Still nothing. No fear sent, no defensive posture, no attempt to flee. Then Victor notices something. Not because... then Victor notices something. Because he's physically moving around the target. The reflection is changing differently than the man. When Victor reaches the man's left side, the man turns his head to follow. The reflection delays just as before, but now Victor has a better angle. The reflection isn't delayed, it's deciding. The reflection watches Victor, then copies the man, not the other way around. For the first time all night, Victor has evidence that the reflection and the man might not be the same thing. The man suddenly speaks, still calm. You don't trust me. That's probably smart. Hector hears that. Maria hears that. Everyone hears that. The pack's posture changes immediately. This just became more serious. So at this point, Victor's uncovered something. And keep in mind, the pack doesn't know about the pack doesn't have a 100% accurate understanding of what's going on at the canal. They just see Victor, in his Urshel form circling this thing. They don't have the details about that little face in the water, and how it's moving and stuff like that. So Victor at this point, I basically rolled. I rolled some dice, intelligence plus occult, because Victor is going to try to determine whether the thing in the water, the reflection, we're going to roll intelligence plus occult because we're trying to figure out, is it a spirit? Is it claim related? Is it some other supernatural phenomenon? So we rolled 7 dice. We got 3 successes. So Victor studies the figure, more specifically the relationship between the figure and the reflection. And with the 3 successes, this is basically what Victor was allowed to do. Victor can eliminate some possibilities. So it's not a normal spirit. Spirits don't normally operate like this. A spirit pretending to be a human would usually be more obvious. It's not claimed. Victor knows enough spirit lore to recognize common signs of the claimed. This lacks those signs, and it's not a ghost. What it resembles, Victor is so what it resembles is something that Victor he remembers from his Bone Shadow teaching. His mentor, Jeremiah, explained a reflection is not a thing. A reflection is a relationship. Some entities don't imitate people. Some entities imitate the idea of people. And then Victor notices something that confirms his suspicion. The man moves. The reflection hesitates. For a fraction of a second, the reflection looks directly at Victor, not at the man, at Victor. Then it resumes the mirror effect. That should be impossible. So Victor has a major clue at this point. Victor has just become reasonably confident that the reflection is a supernatural phenomenon. The man might be real. The reflection, it's possible that the reflection's not real. Before Victor can process that thought further, the reflection smiles. The man does not. Nobody else in the pack appears to notice. Only Victor had the angle. Only Victor was watching for it. The smile lasts less than a second, then it's gone. So Victor has obtained a massive clue with this. So this is what Victor knows. Something is wrong with the reflection. The reflection appears capable of independent action. This phenomenon is probably not a normal spirit, not claimed. It might be connected to memory, identity, or names. And the figure still stands calmly beside the canal. So Victor has evidence, but just he doesn't understand what the hell he's looking at. All right, using my system, guys. I know you're probably extremely curious about this system. I did something with my system, and now Victor slows his circling. His amber eyes remain fixed on the figure. The face is familiar, painfully familiar. The years have changed it, but not enough. Victor remembers arguments, broken promises, the day he was left behind, the feeling of being unwanted. This is the face of Raul Ortega, Victor's uncle, one of the adults who abandoned him. And Raul Ortega is dead. Victor is absolutely certain of that fact. Not I heard a rumor, not someone told me. Victor remembers attending the funeral, which creates a problem. The figure watches Victor, then asks again, "Do you know me?" The wording changes. The first question was, "Do I know you?" Now it is, do you know me? As Victor studies him, something else becomes apparent. The man is waiting, not for an answer, for a name. Victor remembers the frightened dragonfly spirit. He remembers something the dragonfly spirit said. Then names. And he remembers what she who stays said. It knows things are looking for it. The bone shadow teachings of his mentor Jeremiah suddenly feel relevant. Names have power, especially in the shadow, especially around spirits, especially around things that imitate. So at this point, Victor has enough information to form a suspicion. The entity appears unusually interested in names and identity. Giving it information may have consequences. Victor does not know what those consequences would be. The figure takes a single step toward the canal. Its reflection takes a single step toward Victor. Again, they are not moving together. Nobody else seems to have noticed. Then the man asks one final question. If you know me, a pause. What is my name? The pack is silent. Victor is the only one who can answer. And because he's still in Urshel, he cannot simply give a detailed spoken response. So at this point, I had some options with my system, and we decided that Victor would transform from Urshel to Dalu. So we actually decided that we weren't going to have to roll for that change because he's not in combat. So we just decided, yeah, you know what? He's just going to change to Dalu. Victor's massive Urshel frame twists and reshapes. Bones crack, muscles shift. Here, let me show you again what that looks like, guys. So Dalu is the one right next to the human with the guns. That's not Victor, though. That's just a generic example. Okay, so his bones crack, his muscles shift, fur recedes only partially. Within moments, Victor stands in Dalu, the near-human war form. Large, powerful, capable of speech, but capable of fighting. Victor warns the pack. The moment he can speak, Victor doesn't answer the figure. Instead, he addresses the pack loudly. The spirits said something is taking names. The locust is being drained. The spirits are terrified of being noticed. They think it came from the river or below the river. Something is wrong with the reflection. So yeah, he just blurts out all of that, more or less. Hector immediately turns toward the canal. Maria follows Victor's gaze. Father Tomas narrows his eyes. Elena takes several steps sideways to improve her angle. The pack is now actively looking where Victor indicated. Victor Okay, so Maria is the first to react. Wait. Her hand slowly lowers toward the reflection. Not the man, the reflection. Why is it looking at us? The figure immediately stops moving. The reflection does not. For the first time, everyone sees it. The reflection turns, slowly, deliberately, and looks directly at the pack. The man does not. Nobody moves. Then Hector quietly says, Well, a pause. That's not normal. So at this point, Victor is expecting violence, which is a good instinct. So Victor's in Dalu form. He's alert. and he just let the whole pack know what's going on. The pack is aware that the reflection is acting independently. The man is standing beside the canal, still asking for his name. It's no longer perfectly mirroring the man. It's looking directly at the pack. Then the reflection speaks, not the man, the reflection. Its mouth moves, the man's does not. Victor. The entire pack hears it, and that is impossible because Victor never gave it his name. Okay, so, and I don't believe the pack said his name. I just caught that though right now. I don't think, yeah, I don't think any of them said his name. But if you guys notice something that I didn't, if you guys catch something that I don't catch, let me know. But I don't think the pack accidentally said Victor's name. Okay, so the issue that Victor is having right now is that the reflection has taken a clear supernatural action. It's not an attack though, but it has his name. So, using my system, this is what we determined. At this moment, Victor has observed a man who appears to be his dead uncle. The man seems confused about his own identity. The man keeps asking for his name. The spirit spoke of names being lost. The reflection behaves independently. The reflection knows Victor's name. The man and the reflection are not perfectly synchronized. The phenomenon doesn't resemble a normal spirit, claimed, or ghost. So, we used my system, and this is what happened. As Victor considers the possibilities, Maria quietly says, "You're thinking this isn't actually him." Father Tomas shakes his head. Or worse. Hector glances toward the canal. "I don't care what it is." Then toward the reflection. "I care what it wants." The reflection continues staring at Victor. Not aggressively, not fearfully, almost curiously. Then it says, "You know my name?" A pause. "I know yours." Again, the man's mouth never moves, only the reflection speaks. So, we used my secret system again, and Victor has reached a point where he needs more information. Victor takes a step forward in Dalu. His claws dig into the dirt. He keeps himself between the figure and the rest of the pack, not attacking, not yet. The reflection continues to stare directly at him from the canal water. The man continues staring at the reflection. Neither acknowledges the other. Victor speaks. "Who are you?" The reflection answers immediately. "I don't know." No hesitation, no deception that Victor can detect. Victor tries again. "What are you?" This time there's a pause, a long pause. The reflection seems genuinely confused. "I don't know." The answer is identical. Hector mutters, "Useful." Victor ignores him. Why are you here?" The reflection looks toward the uphill flowing water. "Looking." Victor responds, "For what?" The reflection's eyes return to him. "My name." Silence. That answer bothers Victor, not because it is threatening, because it sounds sincere. Victor continues, "Are you Raul Ortega?" The man blinks. For the first time since the encounter began, the reflection watches. The man slowly touches his own chest, as though testing the name. "Raul." A pause. "Maybe." The reflection immediately shakes its head. "No." The man turns toward the water, confused. "No?" The reflection answers. That was taken. The entire pack goes silent. Maria quietly says, "Taken by who?" The reflection looks at her, then at Victor, then toward the canal, toward the dark water flowing uphill. And for the first time since the encounter began, Victor notices fear. Not in the man, not in the reflection, in the water itself. The canal ripples, though there is no wind. The reflection says one final thing. It lives below. Then every reflection in the canal changes at once. The moon's reflection, the pack's reflection, Victor's reflections, all of them. For less than a second, every reflection looks downward, as though staring into something deep beneath the water. Then everything returns to normal. The canal just displayed a supernatural effect, witnessed by the entire pack. At this point, Hector looks at Victor and says, whatever is under there, I think we just found our first real lead. Victor looks at the pack and suggests that the entire pack go into the shadow and explore this area from the other side. Alright guys, I'm thinking that this is a good point because we're an hour into the video. This is probably a good point to cut the video and then yeah, so we're going to end right here and then I will make part 3 of session 1. Okay? So this is a long chronicle, guys, and it's divided into sections, and then for YouTube, each section is divided into each session. Long chronicle divided into sessions. Each session is divided into parts so that each video is like about an hour long. I will see you guys in part 3. I hope you enjoyed this one. Y'all take care.